الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فقال سبحانه وتعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. فأخرج إمام الترمذي في الجامع وإمام أحمد في مسنده وابن ماجه في سننه عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال الكيس من دان نفسه وعمل لما بعد الموت. فقال إمام الترمذي حديث حسن وإن كان في كلامه سند معناه صحيح. We begin with a reminder, and this is a reminder for myself and my brothers and sisters in Islam, a short reminder of why we do what we do. When we push ourselves for good, when we abstain from haram, when we go through all types of hardships for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why? Somebody could ask why? Just live up your life. If you look at the life for the kafir, you see no rules. And we have many times debates with Christians, maybe you've seen a few, and they will tell you something like, Jesus died for your sins. Khalas. So even if there are child molesters and rapists and murderers and alcoholics and they party and they do everything, whatever their nafs desires, they say, well, Jesus died for my sins, so that's it. And then when you tell them, like, okay, does that mean that Hitler is going to heaven, then their whole aqidah just falls apart? When you look at an atheist, when we talk to atheists, and we tell them, what is morality, they have no answer. To an atheist, how could they prove that a mass murderer is wrong? There's no line for morality. So even if they did whatever they wanted, in the end, what's there to be right and wrong? But as Muslims, alhamdulillah, from the time of Adam alayhi salatu salam to the time of Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam, to the time of Musa alayhi salatu salam, time of Isa alayhi salatu salam, to Nabiyyina Muhammad alayhi salatu salam, till the day of judgment, we have a set rules we play by. There is haram, there is halal, and that's it. That's how we live. And every one of us struggles. Nobody here is perfect. Every one of us has that struggle. So sometimes a question comes, why? Why do we not deal with riba? Why do we not go out and party and get drunk and do whatever? Why do we not steal and lie like others? And the answer to that is in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that every soul shall taste death. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Every soul shall taste death. But if that was it, if this was the end of the ayah and nothing else after it, and there was nothing else after death, then it wouldn't mean that you have to live by halal. You would say, okay, I do whatever and I die. But that's the issue. That's not it. There is more to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, thumma, after that, ilayna, back to us, you will come back. Tarji'un, you will come back to Allah. And that is important. Because my brothers and sisters in Islam, this life is not it. This life is just one stage in the stages that me and you have been through and will be going through. Before we were in this dunya, before we were in this life, we were arwah, we were souls. The Prophet ﷺ has told us in the authentic hadith that the souls are like the military brigades or the battalions of Allah. and they would meet each other before this life. That's why sometimes you meet somebody, immediately, mashallah, you like them. And sometimes you're like, I'm good. So, you were souls. Then, you moved out of that realm of existence, and you moved into a realm when you were in the womb of the mother. This was a life me and you have lived through and died through. Your existence was totally different. Imagine when you were in the womb of the mother, you were a child, fetus, developing. You never saw anybody else. You never spoke to anybody. You never had a conversation. You didn't know what the sky looked like. You didn't know what the ground was. You didn't know what a tree was. You didn't know what a car was. You didn't know what a building was. You didn't know what society was like. You would have laughed at somebody who said, someday you'll be eating through your mouth. Imagine the fetus inside the womb. If some messenger came to him and said, you know what, there's a whole world outside, and there are other people walking around, and this tube that feeds you will not feed you anymore. You're going to have these things called teeth, and you're going to chew food, and you're going to get a job and school. You're going to be like, you're crazy. None of that exists. I don't believe in it. Like, you know, atheists tell us, if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. Right? So when you were in the fetus in the womb, did the world not exist? Of course it existed. Just because you didn't see it, doesn't mean it didn't exist. Just because you couldn't fathom it, doesn't mean it didn't exist. It did exist. And then you die from that life, that 9-month life, you die. Die in what sense? In the sense that you now transition to a different life. Where the rules are different. You don't have liquid going through your lungs anymore. You don't have an umbilical cord anymore. You don't just sit there in a womb all day. No, now you live in a life where you move around, you speak to people, you eat food by chewing it, you have a job, school, society, function, you have all these things. You see a tree, something that if a messenger had come to you and told you about, you would have been shocked. But now you see it. That was reality. And like that, you will move from the womb of this world into the womb of the qabr, the grave. It's another transition, just like the earlier two. And your rules of engagement will now change again. The barzakhi life will now be different. You will no longer eat the way you eat. You will no longer live. You will have punishment, you will have reward, you will have questioning, but it will be different from this life. And then from that life, you have death from it, meaning you die from the barzakhi life. Now no more barzakhi life. Now you will be raised on the day of judgment. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us in Sahih Hadith that you will be raised with new bodies. Meaning that now you have a completely new body, uncircumcised. The hadith mentions uncircumcised. And that body is going to be everlasting. That final stage, the akhirah, the hereafter, that is the most important. Why? Because that is everlasting. No end. That's why I said, if it was just death, then who cares? You die, you finish, you're done. But that's not it. After you die, you will have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every aqil, every intelligent person that you speak to, whether they're, I don't know if you can be aqil and atheist, but even if you're mulhid, even if somebody's an atheist, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, they will tell you that the world will end. Nobody thinks this world can go on forever. Even an atheist. I work with scientists, a lot of PhD researchers and all of that. And we have these discussions all the time. And every single one of them will agree that the world will end. So that means this life, this world, this existence will not last forever. Everybody agrees to that. So if that is true, then who's the intelligent person who prepares for what's afterwards? Right? Alhamdulillah, me and some of the brothers here, mashallah, will be going for Umrah, inshallah, tomorrow. Allah accept it. Allah give us tawfiq and life. Now, imagine, me and you, we know this now, that we're going, inshallah. Imagine I show up at the airport, and then they're like, where's your passport? Like, passport? Oh, I don't even think about that. Like, where's your ticket? I think I have one. Do you have an ihram? Yeah, I just thought I'd wing it. Then you get there, where's your hotel? Yeah, don't know. Where are you going? Nah, don't know. You'd be like, what's wrong with you? You're a moron. You're a fool. An idiot. You knew you were going. You knew the date. You knew you were going to the airport. Why didn't you prepare? I don't know. I was watching a TV show and it was really good. I was enjoying some ice cream. Oh, you're a moron. Hey, go ahead, watch your show and eat your ice cream, but you got to prepare for the journey tomorrow. But that's our example today. We're in this dunya and we know we're going to die. And we have buried people. And we've prayed the janazah. And even a kafir will tell you you're going to die. And we know this world is going to end. Then how can we not prepare for what's afterwards? That's why the hadith reported by Imam Ahmad and Ibn Majah and Imam Tirmidhi, upon the authority of the Prophet ﷺ, Imam Tirmidhi, considered to be a Hasan hadith, tells us that the intelligent person is the one that prepares for death before it. He is the one who evaluates himself and does the actions that will help him after death. So think about this. So he evaluates, he prepares, he goes, okay, I know I'm going to die. I know I have to go back to Allah. I don't know when I'm going to die. So let me live my life in a way that I'm ready. And do those actions that will help me in the everlasting life. Think about this. In this life, how long are you going to live? How long are you going to live? It's a question. What do you think? Nobody zooms out in this thoughts, right? How long? Give me a number. 50 years, 60 years, maybe 70, maybe 80, maybe 100. Allahu Barak. Maybe 200? You think you're going to push past 200? We're not Qawm of Nuh alayhi salam, are we? 200 years, let's say you live. You break all the records, Guinness Book, whatever. Okay. How long ago was the time of the Sahaba of Allah? About 1400 years ago. How long was Isa ibn Maryam, as the hadith tells us, 600 years between the time of Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam. So it's more than 2000. Imagine the people that died in that time, where are they today? In those qubur. Just the qabr I'm talking about. 2000 years. Okay, what about Dawood alayhi salam and Sulaiman alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam and Ibrahim alayhi salam and Idris alayhi salam and Nuh alayhi salam, Adam alayhi salam? Who knows? Maybe hundreds of thousands of years. We don't have a number. So 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, maybe long life, and then what? Just the time in the qabr could be hundreds of thousands of years. Then on the day of judgment, that day by itself, one segment of it, not even the entire, one segment of it, 50,000 years. Think about that. 50,000 years. I mean, if I was to lock one of you in a bathroom, just a bathroom, you know, the nice, very clean bathrooms you have here, mashallah. You take somebody, you just lock them. And you were stuck in that bathroom, you couldn't get out, you couldn't do anything for a month. You would go crazy. You would lose your mind. 2 months, a year, 2 years. Imagine just being stuck in a bathroom. But imagine a qabr, a grave that would close in on the sinful person with punishment. Who can stand that? So the next time you're tempted by sin, the next time you feel like, why should I do this good deed? Why me? Why as a Muslim? Why this? Think about that. Are you ready to take on Malak al-Maut? Are you ready to be patient in that grave when it collapses on you and you spend 100,000 years of being punished in it? If you're not, then don't do those actions that lead to it. Then this is the opportunity. This is the reminder. This is that life. Push yourself in good deeds. Strive and struggle in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Earn the mercy of Allah through striving, sacrificing for the sake of Allah, so that you can then enjoy that life in the grave. You can relax when it becomes a garden from the gardens of Jannah, when it's wide, when that time, as the Prophet ﷺ told us, that the time in the grave for the believer is like the time between two salawat, like Dhuhr and Asr. 100, 200,000 years will go like that, quick. For the believer though, for the one that used that life to make their akhirah, be from those that will be under the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. You know the 7 qualities that are mentioned in hadith? Be from those that Allah will put on members on the day of judgment, that will enjoy, that will be given glad tidings, given their book in their right hand, entered into Jannah without hisab. If you want that, then learn how. If you, example, the Prophet ﷺ told us about the 70,000 that will enter Jannah without hisab, and the 70,000 with them, and so on. And he said about them that they don't believe in omens. They don't do, we call ta'weed, those things that people hang. I don't know if you guys have them here. I get the feeling you do, because there's places with a lot of lights in green that I saw. But these are things that will stop you from being from those people. People that do bid'ah, people that do shirk, people that go to qubur and make sujood and make dua to the one in the qabr instead of Allah. When Allah tells us, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. No Wali Baba and this and that, right? So if you're gonna, why are you doing that, brother? It's our community. It is what we saw when Buzurgs they were doing it, No. You can't play with your akhirah. The day of judgment is the day that people will drown in their own sweat. They would die from it, but there's no more death. In dunya, no matter what hardship you have death. If you have cancer and you still die, khalas, the cancer is gone. You have chronic pain and this, death comes, pain is gone. You have whatever hardship you have, death ends it. Whatever pleasure you have, death ends it. But the akhirah is forever, abadan. Forever. 2 choices. 1, an everlasting punishment, or 2, an everlasting bliss. Choice is yours. Allah has laid it out for you. The Quran is there. The ahadith are there. The Anbiya, they delivered the message. The Sahaba, they took it every corner of the world. The Salaf al-Salihin, they educated the Ummah. They took the message to every land. In front of you now, you have a choice. Either you can control your nafs and say, I'm going to live by the Quran and the Sunnah and what is the example set by the Salaf al-Ummah, and I'm going to leave anything that is haram and doubtful, and if I fall into a sin and a mistake, I'm going to turn back to Allah and never leave that rope of mercy and continue to make tawbah and continue to push myself and strive and struggle so that I can be from those people that on the day of judgment, Allah will be pleased with me. That Allah will enter me into Jannah. That when I go in and there is no more death and no more tests and no more hardships, and no more disease, and I live there and I see the arsh of Allah. For those in Jannat al-Firdaus al-Ala, the roof being the arsh of Allah, and I'm blessed with seeing Allah. Subhanallah. For the kafir, just that punishment that they will never see Allah pleased with them, this is enough. And for the believer, if you just had the fact that you will see your Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala pleased with you, what in this dunya is worth losing that? What tradition? What riwaj? What sin? What haram is so pleasurable that you want to lose that? Nothing. Nothing is worth it. So my respected brothers and sisters in Islam, as a reminder for myself and my brothers and sisters, wallahi, this life is a time to strive, to struggle, to push, to be patient. This is your examination hall. And if you snooze through it, there is no retakes. You can't come back. When will this test end? We don't know. Today, as we sit here, wallahi, I swear by Allah, I guarantee you that there are people in this world that are dying. And tonight when you sleep, I guarantee you by tomorrow there will be those people that will not wake up. And every time we think, yeah, that's somebody else, that's what they thought too. Many of them, they don't have health issues, they don't have anything else. This is just how life is. Allah gave you that guarantee. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. And your day of judgment begins with your death. Your hisab, everything begins. So know that one of these days is going to be me and you. So live your life being ready for it. If we are in some kind of sin, and every one of us has some sins that we indulge in, today should be the day we leave it. If there is some good deed that we've been kind of lazy on, today is a reminder. Today's opportunity that Allah gave us should be that opportunity that we accept it, and we strive for it, and we struggle for it, and we push ourselves for it. And this is my message.